But I feel like the soul, working with the soul, is the form of technology. It's something that is a science. It's something that you can learn to work with, and you can do that in a way to magnetize more new clients to your practice. It's based on the principle that you are offering a service. And that's what thing that souls are all about, is offering and receiving service from each other. That's the currency. And so you have to be clear on what your service is and how it really benefits people, and then really simply just call the souls of the people you want to market to and tell them that. So I'm going to go through and explain in detail how to do this, and then we'll just have a little discussion afterwards. So anyway, let's talk about spiritual marketing here for a moment. What is spiritual marketing? There actually was a book that came out about that, about 15 years ago. That was opened up a lot of people's minds about that, by Joe Vitale, I think, or whatever his name is. But anyway, here's the things that I do. First of all, keep clearing yourself. That means be self-aware and do spiritual practices, meditation, chanting, yoga, whatever it takes for you to basically keep yourself at a pretty clear and open level. So, because what happens is, just in the course of the stresses of life or just in our daily relationships, it's easy to take on resentments or feel like close off to somebody else or judge yourself, or a lot of things that end up creating closures in your energy body in some place. And you can still function with them. I mean, most of us do every day. It's called neurosis. I mean, most people have something like that. But there's ways that you can keep yourself more clear and open and conscious. So there's many ways to do that. I certainly teach a lot of them in our Wednesday night classes, our soul healing classes, and there's many other things that you can find in many ways. But the point is to do something on a daily basis for your own clearing and spiritual development. Build your virtue bank. This is a huge subject that I'll talk about just a little bit here, is that in the spiritual world, virtue is something you accumulate through doing good for people, through making other people happier or healthier, through giving of yourself from your heart and soul. And guess what? That virtue actually builds up in something that would be similar to a bank account. And I won't get into too metaphysical here, but people that have done a lot of service, who have given a lot of themselves, have built up a lot of virtue. And that virtue can be transformed into money. There's ways to do that. And that's actually where your money comes from. So to whatever extent, first, the fact you're born in the United States means there's a certain amount of virtue, because we're the richest country on earth, or at least certainly near the very top, although it doesn't seem that way sometimes, but still I would say that's true. And if you live here, even if you consider yourself somewhat poor and struggling, you're still at a higher financial level than most people on the planet. So basically there's virtue just to be born here, and then there's also, to whatever extent you have some success in your business, the fact you're even in business shows that you have virtue. And anything that tends to come to you fairly easily has to do with the amount of virtue you have. So building your virtue bank means just always do the best you can, give of your heart to people in a way that's healthy, not codependent or giving too much, but in a way that's healthy, and keep developing your skills, and maybe do some service or volunteer work whenever you can, and be good to your family, all those kind of things. Build virtue bank. Also, chanting and meditating builds your virtue bank, because you're serving everybody by lightening your own vibration. The power of intention can never be overestimated. We limit our own power through not using clear intention, through having mixed emotions or having conflicts that we live with day after day. When you can really clearly, without conflict, state that you want to create something or you choose to create something, there's tremendous amount of power that comes to that. So try to be aware of when you're fighting yourself, when you're creating blockages for yourself, because that's also called self-sabotage, when we actually literally become our own worst enemy and actually have thoughts, negative thoughts about ourselves, about the very things that we're trying to create. It's like, let's say you're trying to build your practice, so you know you really want more patients, and you might do some advertisements or some open houses or go to a networking group, but then you have these constant thoughts going, well, I'm not sure I'm good enough, this may not work, what if it, what if it doesn't happen? I think I'd rather be out. I think I'd rather be retired now. Or, I mean, so it's like one thought is going forward and one thought is pulling you back, and it creates an impasse. And just when I'm looking at myself and so many people that I've worked with as clients, I see that's a very, very common pattern. So when you stop being in an impasse and you actually simply say, it is my intention to increase my practice by 20 more new patients this month, and you don't allow any thought to say, yeah, but it may not happen, or maybe I'm not good enough, or blah, blah. You just be very vigilant and don't allow that, and you really work with affirmation and positive visualization. There's a tremendous power that will support you in creating that. So really, look at what you're doing. And virtue really comes from caring and service to others. So just work on being as loving, as supportive, and as skillful as you can, so you truly are really taking care of people's needs. And that's a constant process. As long as we're in practice, we're always going to be needing to build our skills and increase our abilities. Soul broadcast and soul conferencing you're going to learn about here this morning. So I will tell you exactly how to do that. Blessing your marketing materials. This is such a simple thing. Like when I send out a group email for one of my events, most of the time what I do is before I just hit the send button, I offer a blessing. I ask that the spiritual blessings that come through me to bless that email or bless the brochure that goes out. And I know that Karen and Joanne from my office are trained to do that too. Like when we pack up an Accutron unit, they bless it before we send it out, or when they do other types of work like that. So we don't always remember to do that, but as much as possible, that's going to actually make it more magnetic. I remember in that book, Spiritual Marketing by Joe Vitale, I read a long time ago, he talked about a woman who had a little ad in the East-West Journal, I guess some magazine that had national circulation. It was just a little ad, like maybe 2 inches by 3 inches, that she ran once a month. And she was a healer. And it just was black and white, and it was nothing that fancy, but she had a constant stream of people calling her. And she had a waiting list business just from that one ad. And so Joe interviewed her and said, how are you so successful with that one ad? And she said, I blessed that ad. I put my intention and love into the ad and a lot of vibration into it, and I set my intention for it to attract a certain type of people, and they keep finding it and calling me. So this is, again, a part of the soul technology that you can learn how to use to increase your business. Putting intention into each interaction. What does that mean? It means realize that you are here to serve every single person or animal you meet. This is the way I choose to. And I can't say I'm perfectly consistent in this, but this is my intention, that whether I'm working or whether I'm just playing or hiking or with my family or walking down the street, that every person I touch, that there's some blessing or service for them. Just walking down the street past somebody, if you're chanting or if you're thinking something good, you're offering a blessing to them, because then there's a positive vibration that they are touching. So don't underestimate your power to facilitate something like this. And then the last thing is, don't let fear and lack drive you. It's so easy to have that happen, to let doubt and fear be a big motivator, motivating your decisions. Because let's say somebody wants to build their practice, and they get some really good ideas of how to do it, or maybe they go take a marketing course, or they take my my mastermind group here. But there's a little voice that says, yeah, but I have to invest $250 to do that, and last time I did that, it didn't really work, and I wasted the money, and I'm not sure I really have what it takes to actually make this whole thing work, and I'm tired. I think I maybe just won't do it. So that dialogue would be, again, and I'm not saying you should do every single advertising opportunity that comes along, but there are things that your soul will attract to you to allow you to fulfill your intentions, and you need to really take some risks and take some steps into those things from an intelligent, knowledgeable point. And so, and also, if you have a feeling of fear and lack, you won't be magnetic when you meet people for them to want to come to you and build your practice and be part of your clients. So these are all some things I list that I try to work with as much as possible every day. And if they are helpful to you, then please use them. So when people have financial problems, here's a Taoist sort of way to see it, is that heaven has the source of everything. Like there's the virtue bank, basically all this energy that you can bring to manifest what you want in your life, you could say is flowing from heaven. It's always available to you. And then earth would be what grounds you and stabilizes you and also gives you a lot of resources, because obviously it gives you your body, the food that nourishes you. There's a whole lot of like beautiful energy in the earth that can open your heart and give you relaxation, and we all know that. So from the Tao view, we are the connection point between heaven and earth. And the 7 chakras in our body would be the connection levels. Like these are all different levels of frequency and vibration in our body. So when your chakras are all open and spinning and healthy, heaven flows freely through you and earth flows freely through you, and it's easy to create things. It's easy to manifest. It's easy to be magnetic. So to whatever extent that's not happening, it means that there's a closure or a distorted spin pattern in one or more of these chakras. That's one of the ways of saying it, that the ladder between heaven and earth is a closed or blocked or distorted in some way due to negative beliefs or attitudes or mindsets or karma or whatever the case is, some kind of toxic relationship you're in. So part of this, being successful in business, is to actually do some inner work. And so again, on that seminar that I'm going to teach on December 5th through 7th, not only going to learn how to do that for others, but how to do that for yourself a lot more as well. We're going to really get it deeply into that. And also reading my book, Healing the Root of Pain, you can get a lot of that information too. So spiritual practice, like doing chanting and meditation and things like this, are a way to regularly keep cleansing and opening and healing this connection, so that some of them are more like just daily maintenance, and some of them are more deeper seated issues that take a lot of inner work and maybe some help from others to clear. So here's a great quote from Carlos Castaneda, where he said, "Intent is a force that exists in the universe. When sorcerers," he used the word sorcerer for those who live from the source, "beckon to intent, it comes to them and sets up the path for attainment," which means that they always accomplish what they set out to do. So this is, again, a great quote to really understand the power of what intention can do. You can never understand this enough. Like you might say, oh yeah, I've heard that before, I know that, I've heard that quote, but how much do we really get it? That it's really an unlimited power available to us if we take away the self-sabotaging, doubtful thoughts and negative mindsets and attitudes, and just have the gumption to actually invoke your intention. So a great thing to do is when you wake up in the morning, before you do anything, visualize what you would like to create in your life and then state, "It is my intention to," and then just fill in what your intention is for that day. Okay, so spiritual marketing. This is a term, Chinese, Dao Ye Cheng Sheng, means conduct your profession in harmony with Tao. The Tao has a lot to do with the natural rhythms of life. Like when you're in line with Tao, you're basically connecting heaven and earth in your life. And so when you're that way, there's a Tao of money, there's a Tao of business, there's a Tao of relationships, there's a Tao of food. And it's basically following the natural rhythms of how we are created to be. Now, of course, most Americans and Canadians, and of course Americans more than Canadians, don't do that. We live in a very artificial way. We're watching computers and TVs late at night, when the sun is set. I mean, primitive people or ancient people would go to sleep when the sun sets and wake up when the sun rises, or more or less, and that's Tao. Maybe that may not be practical for us all now, but try to figure out how your business can be in harmony with Tao. You'll flourish. You'll be much more successful. So some ways that I'm going to go over some ways we can do that. It means you're offering universal service. You're creating value and living in the flow of abundant supply. That's being in the Tao. How do you do that? First of all, people pay us and come to us because we are creating value for them. So you have unlimited value because you're alive and because of your skills and because of who you are. So it's activated when you share it with others. And you got to know that you have a unique value that no one else on earth has in the way that you do. Think about that for a moment. Like, just take a moment to think of what is the value that you bring that's different than anyone else around you. And just if any thoughts of self-doubt come about that or lack of self-worth, just recognize them and say, thank you for sharing, but I know that's not my truth. But you do have just as much value as anyone else, including people that are multimillionaires or leaders of countries or so on, or CEOs. It's just that they have learned how to really, really activate their value and get other people to recognize their value and to come and support them and want to work with them. We may not have activated it that much, or you may not want to be a CEO, but just to simply reach whatever your personal goals are. So you have to know that there's many others that do need the specific, unique value that you offer. It's just like a key in a lock. You have a certain unique value that no one else in the world, and certainly no one else in your community offers and could offer in the same way. Whether you're an acupuncturist or esthetician or massage therapist or whatever you are, there's something that you can offer that no one else in your profession could offer. So then you have to have the courage and belief in yourself to offer that unique value, even if it seems hard at first. And make sure you value yourself and what your time is worth. Because remember, if you're in the healing arts, what you're really selling is your time and your skill. So one thing that a lot of acupuncturists that don't have, let's say, high self-worth or high self-value is they'll charge a certain amount for an acupuncture session. Like I charge $75, and then they may be with that person for an hour and a half because they just, and they still charge $75. See, that's an example of not valuing your time. You have to know that your time is worth a certain amount, and that if you really believe it, other people will support you in that. So be enthusiastic about your value and express that in many ways using personal contact and available technologies. So as you share your value, you receive an equal measure. So this is, again, goes to my class next week about educational marketing. This is a way of sharing your value. Putting out newsletters, a blog is a great way to do that, giving talks in your community. But the first thing is be clear on what your value is, what that unique thing is you can offer that no one else can, and then really get into writing about that or speaking about it or making little videos, giving talks. First you have to get in touch with what it is, and then maybe do some extra research or go online, read a few more books, whatever it takes so you can speak really authoritatively about that subject that you are really can really be an expert in. And that's part of paying it forward. Now, let's get into the part of the soul marketing. People practicing soul marketing, there's the physical things like networking groups and going to health fairs and things like that. But people really want to be connected, and so this is a direct way to do that. So I'm going to jump ahead here a little bit to the part about this. Okay, so here it is, soul marketing. So how does soul marketing work? First of all, you have to know that everything has a soul. All people, all animals, all businesses, all countries, they all have a soul. The soul has access to resources far beyond that of our conscious minds and personalities. What we think we know with our intellect is very limited compared to what the soul can tap into. Soul over matter is much more powerful than mind over matter. The souls live and connect beyond time and space, so you might say in the quantum reality, just like subatomic particles affect each other in a non-local way. So I mentioned this in other classes I've taught, but quantum physicists have shown that subatomic particles can be entangled with subatomic particles at some distant place, and there's no real reason why when one changes, the other ones change. But that's called non-locality, that on that world, what happens in one place affects things in other places, that they're entangled in that way. So it's also true of the soul world, that even if you're sitting in your bedroom, you can connect with the souls of the people in your area that need your unique service, and you can invite them to come and do business with you. So you can connect with the soul of anyone, anytime. If you want to connect with the soul of Abraham Lincoln, you could do that right now. You could say, "Dear soul of Abraham Lincoln, I love you, I honor you, I'd love to speak with you." And in fact, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to ask the soul of Abraham Lincoln if he has a message for you. message is, be diligent. Do not give up. I was extremely persistent for many years before I ever became successful in politics. And if I have any message for you, holistic healers of the future, would be clear of the vision of your goal and do not be discouraged by seeming setbacks. Okay, that was the message I felt from him, his soul. I just tuned into him really quickly. So you can do that with any. Thank you, Abraham Lincoln. So that's one of the powers we have that we don't often use. If you want to connect with Mother Mary or Jesus or your deceased great-grandfather, all you have to do is just suspend your doubt and from a loving connection, just invoke them. And you may get a message of some kind. So you can certainly do that with the live people in your area that need acupuncture or whatever it is that you offer. Now you realize that souls don't have the same fears, doubts, and resistances that our ego personality does. So you can speak to people in a soul marketing session in a different way than you may be able to do it if you were actually meeting them on the street. If you share your value on the soul level, people will be more receptive when they hear from you on the material level. So this is the base of soul marketing. Like when I've sent out brochures for one of my seminars, I do a lot of soul marketing when that brochure is being mailed from the fulfillment house, and I speak to all the people that who are on my mailing list who's going to receive that brochure. And I tell them something like, this is Darren Starwin. You're going to receive a brochure about a seminar in Los Angeles in July. This is the last live seminar, or the two seminars ago were in Los Angeles in July. The purpose of the seminar is to empower you with skills that are going to help you to be more effective at pain management and dealing with internal medicine and weight loss, psychological treatments. And I'll just speak just like that to tell them the value, and then I'll explain to them how they can do it. And then the brochure goes out. My belief is that when people get that brochure, the ones that are right for it are less likely to just toss it in a circular file right away because they feel something, because there's something in their soul recognizes. They may not be conscious of that, but because I did the soul marketing, they are more receptive when that physical brochure shows up. So when would you soul market? You could each morning when you start your workday, you could soul market before starting any new project. When you're launching or promoting an event like I was just talking about. When placing an ad, sending an email blast, or writing an article or newsletter, you can soul market with the people who are going to receive it and just tell them on the soul level, you're going to receive my newest newsletter. Please take the time to read it. Don't delete it right away. I have a really great article about how you stay healthy when the winter season is coming in, or whatever it is that you're doing. When you're in a conflict or confrontation with someone, it's a great time to do soul communication. And I've had many experiences of doing that where there was such an anger or whatever it was where I couldn't talk to a certain person, so I would talk to their soul, and often that would really, really help. I'd apologize, or I would, communicate or whatever it took directly on a soul level if the person wouldn't physically speak to me. And also when you want to share healing and light with any person, group, or all of humanity, you can use soul communication. Okay, now this is a sacred mantra, 3396815, which in Mandarin Chinese is Sun Sun Zhou Liu Bai Yao Wu. So why don't you say it with me now, just so you can practice the pronunciation. Sun Sun Zhou Liu Ba Yao Wu. Sun Sun Zhou Liu Ba Yao Wu. This mantra creates great power to connect you with souls. So when you're going to start and end a soul marketing, it's really good to use this mantra. This was discovered by Master Ji Chen Guo. He's now deceased, but he was a really great medical doctor, acupuncturist, and herbalist who was the main featured person in the movie Soul Masters that we showed last night. In fact, if you want to still see that movie, you could just go to livestream.com, and then in the search field at the top, type in Darren Starwin, my name, and you go to my page, and you'll actually see the recordings of all these live stream soul healing classes. that I have offered and that, that my team has offered over the last 6 months or so. You'll see the one that says Soul Masters. You could watch it anytime you want. It'll be right there, and also quite a few other really good topics. Okay, so then basically you want to say hello to those souls that you want to connect with. You can say, for instance, I know I spoke to Kay earlier, and she was saying that she would like to build her practice and have more people coming into her practice. You can say, dear soul of all, I don't remember where you're located, but let's say wherever you are, dear soul of all the people in my region who can use my services. Maybe you can describe, because what I like to do when I'm soul marketing is only call those souls that I already have a good rapport with, or I could have a good rapport with. Like, not waste their time or my time if they're not the right kind of patient. Like, obviously, I like to work with people that are open to more working on themselves and are willing to go to the root of their issues and do that kind of inner work, and maybe people that need pain management for difficult pain conditions or want to work on emotional issues. So if I was doing it, I'd say, dear soul, which I will do today as soon as we're done with this webinar, dear all the souls of people in the Marin County, California area who could really resonate with the services that I offer. I love you, I honor you, and appreciate you. I'm calling those that I can truly help, that the skills and soul characteristics I have could truly help you. I'm calling you to come to my practice, the Center for Health and Happiness in Mill Valley, California, and you can call me at 415-888-3891 or go to Darren at drstarwin.com, and I will give you some really, really good service to help you have results that you may not find anywhere else. I can help you with soul healing, with acupuncture, with the Accutron device, and many other skills that I have to help you move through whatever your challenges are. I can help you to, if you're feeling depressed, anxious, obsessive-compulsive disorder, if there's something blocking you from moving forward in your business, or if you have constantly having negative relationships in your life, or if you have chronic fatigue. These are all things that I can help you with. So I'm calling those souls that I truly can help to come and call my phone number, find me on the web, or meet me in person at various places I will be. So you can do that by calling those people, and then you say, I now call you to a soul conference. So the soul marketing steps: be in a quiet place, center yourself, open your heart and soul, chant the San San Jodiu Baya Wu. And pretty much just what I already was saying here. All people in the Baltimore area needing natural, non-drug pain relief. And then you send them love and respect, connect with them in your heart and soul. Love melts all blockages. So when you're doing soul marketing, always make sure you really share love with those souls. Don't just do it from a mechanical viewpoint, because love is what will attract them. So, it may seem strange at first that you're just sitting by yourself in a room and you're giving love to souls that aren't in front of you. But once you get used to it, it'll seem very normal, just like saying hello to your dog or your son or anybody else. It's just something you have to change the mindset that this is a weird, esoteric thing. Then you speak to them very forthrightly about what you want to share and communicate, like I just did my example. And then just basically follow your intuition when you're doing this. And then when you're complete, you close the soul conference. You always have to formally close it and dismiss the souls at the end. You don't want to just leave them hanging after you've called them. It's just like let's say if you called 3 or 4 people to a meeting with you, and then you just suddenly walked out of the room and you didn't say goodbye and you didn't have any closure or any plans to meet again, they would feel really weird, wouldn't they? So what you always want to do is have a formal closure, a respectful way to close the soul conference. So here's how you would close a soul marketing session. You always thank them. You make sure you told them exactly what you want them to do. Give them, in other words, don't just tell them what you can do, but actually say something like, here's my phone number, here's my email. I'm doing an open house next Thursday. I'd like you to come at 6:30. It may seem strange that you're saying these kind of factual things to souls, but it really helps because on some level they will get it. And then you always close a soul conference. And that's true of even if you're doing a sales presentation in person. You always want to tell people exactly what you want them to do. And again, if you lack self-confidence, you may skip that step. Like let's say, for instance, you do an open house for energy, light, rejuvenation. Well, you could, say you demonstrate some facials, you show them the beauty of facial rejuvenation, and then at the end you just kind of say, well, so if you're interested, give me a call. That would be a very weak close. What you want to do is say, and somebody I was speaking to earlier was saying about how they need some help closing. So what you always want to do is tell them exactly what you want them to do. So at the end of the open house, you might say, now, I am offering a special that normally my sessions are $135 for an hour session. Of course, that would vary depending on where you are in the United States. And what I'm offering from this open house is you're going to need a minimum of 10 sessions to get the full benefit of energy, light, rejuvenation. So if you prepay for 10 sessions now, I will give you a 35% discount, and you can have 10 sessions for $1,000. If you want to just do 5 sessions, I'll give you 5 sessions for $550, which is a significant discount over the single price. My assistant's here. We can take your credit card now, or if you call me by 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, I can still give you the same offer. You basically want to tell them exactly what you want them to do. So that's also true of soul conferencing. So you always close with, love you, love you, love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then this Chinese phrase, gong sung, means respectfully return. It means, you've called them, you want to respectfully dismiss them. Gong sung, gong sung, gong sung. And then it might be helpful to say another san san jolio baya wu at the end, just to close the situation. So now, I'm going to ask you to do it yourself. Why don't you just take a couple of minutes and do a soul marketing yourself. So basically, you can go ahead, and I'm just going to coach you through it. So if you choose to do this, you can actually start building your business right now. You can start by deciding who it is you want to call to your soul conference. In other words, who are the people that you would like to attract to your business or whatever project you're working on. So just decide that for a moment. It could be all the people in my area who can use my services, because that's always a good one. And then do the san san joliu baya wu. I'll just put that back on again if you need to see that. So just chant that 3 times at least. San san joliu baya wu, san san joliu baya wu, san san joliu baya wu. Okay, then next, just imagine, just play with this. Even if you're a little skeptical about this, just play with it. Imagine that there's a huge auditorium in front of you, and all these souls are coming in that you just called, and they're sitting in the auditorium, and they're looking at you. Or if you really want to think big, imagine a football stadium. So you're standing in front of this group. Just use your imagination and just speak to them. Tell them exactly what value you can bring to them, what service you could bring to them, how you can help make them happier, healthier. Tell them what you can do that no one else can do quite as well as you can. Just take a moment to do that. Okay, and then tell them exactly the steps you would like them to take so that they can connect with you. Tell them your phone number, your email, any events you have coming up, your address, whatever it is. Just tell them the practical stuff so that what you want them to do. Okay, and let's just put a closure on this exercise. So go ahead and say these 3 phrases, or however you feel led to do it. This is a good way to do it, but just whatever you feel. But the main thing is put some formal closure and dismiss them respectfully. Okay, so if you followed along with that, you just did a soul marketing. I'd say, why don't you experiment with this? Even if you're not sure if it's real or not, or if, Darren is kind of way out there, or whatever it is, why don't you put it to the test? You'll never know if something works till you try it. Make a commitment to do soul marketing every day for the coming 2 weeks. Every day in the morning sometime, preferably, or whenever you can. Even if it's 5 minutes, just go through what I just showed you and call those people you want to do business with to come and find you. And then also do a few practical new marketing things, like maybe send out a newsletter, go to an open house, sign up for a health fair, go out and just meet people in various situations, and maybe make a new business card if yours seems kind of stale and all, but take some practical physical steps also. But do the soul marketing and just put it to the test, and then, and one of the next mastermind group next month, let us know what you experienced. So I'm going to check the questions right now, or comments, and see if anyone would like to just speak and share what you got from this or what your feelings about this is. So I'm going to go take a look at the questions now. Okay, no one's posted any questions, but this would be a good time to do that. Why don't you click the raised hand symbol and just type what your experience is about this, or any other things you would like to discuss right now or get some support for. Is there any, okay, is there, if there's anything, even if it's not about soul marketing, but any other question or place you need a little support, you can type that in here too. Karen said, thank you. Very important to start with intention. Sometimes I forget this step. Good. Well, I'm glad I could remind you of that, because it's one of the greatest powers available to you. Might as well use it. Well, nobody else is right now posting anything, but what I'm going to do is, if you want it, I'll still give you a few more minutes. Because remember, whenever you share, the purpose of the mastermind group, today we didn't really do as much discussion. It was more of a lecture, but I hope it was helpful to you. But really, the more you share and participate in anything like this, the more value you get out of it, and you're actually creating virtue. Because by sharing, you are actually helping to give everyone else some benefit of your experience. Even if it seems like a negative experience, somebody else might be able to relate to it, and it might help them to get past some roadblock they have. So I'd say really, when you come to these mastermind groups, be prepared to really share and participate to get the greatest juice out of it. Okay, we have also another comment here from Kay, who said, I like what you said about the email blessing and soul connection, also connecting with the people who are right for me. Yeah, in other words, why knock your head against the wall and try to go after people that aren't right for you? There's enough people that do really resonate with you, and that's called the lowest hanging fruit. So that's a good way to do it in your soul marketing. Lynn said, I like the soul connection with the marketing. I feel it makes me connect to my soul's purpose for why I'm here. Today gave me some clarity. Well, very good. I'm really glad about that. Thanks for sharing that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close here by offering you a soul healing blessing for your business to fulfill the purpose of your business. So all you have to do, if you wish to receive this, is just sit up straight, put one hand over your lower abdomen, and just put your attention there, preferably the rear part of your lower abdomen, like around Ming Men area. And this will just take a couple of minutes. So I'm asking the soul healing blessings that are available to me. Please turn on. And to offer an appropriate blessing to each person who's on this call, and to each person who's a member of the inner circle, and to also the people that work in my office, Joanne and Karen, and myself. So the purpose of this blessing is to help you remove any soul, mind, body blockages you have to meeting the goals of your business, to having greater success in your business, as is appropriate for you at this time. Okay, healing blessing begins. Just try to take some big breaths into your lower abdomen while you receive this. Again, you don't have to receive it. If you don't want to receive it, just simply say, I don't want to receive it, and you won't. So this is only voluntary if you wish to receive this blessing. But if you do, please keep one hand on your lower abdomen and take some big breaths, because that's the way you receive energy. Actually, if you have any physical pain right now, you could also ask for a healing for that at this point. Take advantage of that if you wish. How? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Healing blessings. I'm very grateful that I have the privilege of transmitting these healing blessings. Please rest now. Healing blessing ends, although the benefits of it will stay with you. Let me just see if there's any other comments here. Let's see, we have Lynn is saying, I'd like to attend your Wednesday evening soul healing sessions, but I haven't received any response to my emails 2 weeks ago. Plus, my emails didn't get to you. I think I used the right address. Okay, sure. Give you my email address is dstarwyn, that's DSTARWYNN at eastwestmed.com. So anyway, thank you everybody for coming on, and have a wonderful day. So blessings, love, have a great week and a great weekend. Bye-bye.